very much for the introduction. I'm absolutely delighted to contribute to this webinar and share some insights from, I suppose, my own perspective as a researcher, but also as a player and also as a coach as well. I suppose as Sergio was saying, I'm coming towards the end of my PhD journey now. I'm hoping to submit in the next 2 weeks. And my research focuses specifically on female youth sport participation. So I'm going to share some of the play-based approaches and the insights as part of my intervention. I suppose just to generate discussion and I suppose share my findings from a Gaelic Games perspective in Ireland. And then I'll just finish with my own perspective. So, I've been playing at an elite level myself the last few years. 10 years now I'm playing on the senior panel. So I think it's nice to actually merge the research side to it, but also actually have to experience that myself and share those insights as a player and how I've experienced the whole notion of play, both in training and both in games. So I'll just kick off really first by just starting, just to give a bit of a background on Gaelic for Girls and my research. So Gaelic for Girls is a national run ladies Gaelic football programme, and it's run by the LGFA in Ireland, and it targets 8 to 12-year-old girls. So the purpose of the programme is to try and recruit girls and introduce girls to ladies football in, I suppose, a non-competitive fun manner, whereby they introduce the skills of ladies football with the hope that they would join a club and continue playing ladies football and keep physically active. So I started my PhD journey 4 years ago now, and I've put an evidence base behind the programme. So in order to tailor the programme and to improve the programme to get more girls active. So how the Gaelic for Girls programme works is that it's run over 12 weeks, just to put it into context for you. And every week the girls come to the training session. It's an hour long. And after the 8 weeks of the programme, they have a choice of joining the club. So within that hour every week, the girls are exposed to a variety of game-based approach, station-based approach. So primarily through the teaching games for understanding approach. But with my research, I kind of tailored that based on my findings. So one of the main findings that was coming through in my research was that of, when the girls were asked, why are they playing sport and why are they involved and why do they like football? The biggest barrier, the biggest motivators that were coming through were that of fun and friendships. So, that aligns with research in Ireland and internationally as well, the whole fun and the social aspect of sport. So I suppose, thinking on those findings, it was something I had to do was, okay, how am I going to implement that now, even more so into the Gaelic for Girls programme? So another finding that came through was that of the choice. Girls wanted a choice, and they wanted that autonomy structure in the sense that they wanted a say, which Owen is going to speak about as well in terms of giving players a voice. So fun, friends, more choice in the games. This was coming through in the baseline findings. So what I decided to implement in my research as part of the Gaelic for Girls programme was, as part of the station-based approach, I implemented a specific team challenges station. So 10 minutes every week, the girls were exposed to a variety of different team games, but they got to choose what games they wanted to play, but they also had a chance to interact with each other and kind of get that, communicative play and the social play, and not just, the coach saying, right, we're going to do this now, we're going to do that next, we're going to do this after. So girls actually got that opportunity to interact with each other and, I suppose, to communicate and come up with their own solutions. So as part of the team challenges, they weren't told exactly how to go about doing the team challenges. Okay, the end goal was explained, but it was up to the team to communicate with each other, and it was up to the girls to see, okay, what's going to work best, because the team that work best together, will get the end result. And it wasn't about competition, it wasn't about who's going to get there first. It was all about that communicative social play, which worked really, really well. And the findings that were coming through from the focus groups was that of the fun and the friendship, and they liked the fact that, you know, it wasn't necessarily football.
Before we watch the video, would you like to do Classe de Marie-Ève or English written homework?
I'm not sure.
Bear with me a second.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah, carry on, Orlagh, carry on.
No problem. So as part of the specific teen challenge station, the girls got that opportunity to play in the sense of the communication and the social skills, and that was something that really came through as a positive finding in my results. Another aspect was that of the fundamental movement skills station. So again, just giving girls that opportunity to choose what they wanted to do. Due to the nature of football, I suppose, you know, like the whole teaching games for understanding, some of it has to be purposeful play. But giving them that element that wasn't necessarily football and skill related, in the sense of it wasn't like soloing the football, hand passing the football. It was giving them even 10 minutes in that session just to experience that fun friendship side to it, that, you know, some girls mightn't have had the opportunity to talk to all of the girls in the session, and that worked really, really well. So another component that I used as part of my intervention was I designed ladies football and fundamental movement skill dance. So as guided by the findings, again, that fun, that friendship, you know, the low physical activity levels, the low skill mastery levels, I decided, okay, how am I going to try and merge all of those in to something that's, I suppose, expressive and that's fun and that's engaging for girls. And so I decided to combine the skills of ladies football and basic fundamental movement skills with music and dance. And I used the ball as almost like the symbol, so kind of bringing in that whole symbolic play, using the ball as almost like a distraction in one sense, but as a focus to help them with the skills in the movement dance. And I suppose the whole purpose behind the dance was to improve the whole kind of psychosocial side to it, the self-esteem, self-efficacy, you know, feeling good about themselves, and that kind of feel-good factor that's often overlooked in sport and in coaching, in youth sport coaching, that was brought into it. And I suppose based on the findings from the focus group interviews, on a coach perspective and on a child perspective, it was just fantastic to get such positive feedback, and it's something that I'm actually developing, because it's the perfect avenue to improve skills, to improve physical activity levels, but also, you know, it's that the creative play is coming in, that children are creative by nature, and you know, they want that opportunity to be creative, and they want that opportunity to trial things out and be expressive. And I think, you know, I suppose in this day and age, particularly with, you know, I suppose technology and everything, that you have this concept called surplus safety, whereby I suppose kids aren't even allowed run in some schools anymore due to insurance purposes and, you know, that whole surplus safety concept. So I think by actually purposefully, you know, providing a platform as a coach in a training session, even if it's only for 10 minutes of that training session, that girls actually get that opportunity to practice the skills in that social environment, because essentially that's what the research is saying. You know, they're there because they want to play, they're there because they want to be with their friends, they're there because they want to have fun and they want to better themselves. So, you know, it's that feel-good factor. And I suppose I know from my own playing experience that sometimes it's not, I don't even remember what I've actually done in the training session, because it's based on how I feel. And, you know, I think that if we can kind of instill that in coaches, that it's that feel-good factor that's sometimes more important, that if the girls or if the children are leaving the training session with a smile on their face, then like your job is done in one way, that, you know, they're going home and they feel good about themselves. And I think that came through a lot in my research. And it's important really, because that kind of psychosocial play, in terms of creative play, social play, sometimes that's just neglected and it's overlooked. And it's kind of, you know, posing the question, how can we bring that back into coaching for children? Because that's why they want to be there, because they want to have fun. So you kind of have to, you have to kind of take a step back sometimes to take a step forward. And another thing that was coming through in my own research from a coaching perspective was that of lack of education. So it was a strong theme coming through in the focus group interviews, was that a lot of coaches actually felt that they lacked confidence, in the sense of, first of all, they weren't really sure in terms of what play meant, and this whole kind of psychosocial element with, in other words, how do you actually bring fun? Like, how do you go about bringing fun into the training session? So through upskilling and through continuous professional development within the intervention, that was certainly improved. And after the intervention, that was something that really came through in the findings, is that, even just having that assistance and having the education to actually know, okay, that there's purpose behind the fun, that it's not just, oh, but sure, they're not doing anything. They're, just because it's a bit of chaos, which Owen is going to speak about in a while, that they're actually still learning, and you need to give them that opportunity, that sometimes it can't be too structured. And that was coming through in the sense that the coaches almost had that narrow-mindedness, the old-fashioned style of, but sure, we always do this, and we always do it this way, so I'm going to continue, and almost being afraid to step out of their comfort zone, in the sense of, oh God, what if it goes wrong, or what if the girls don't like the game? But so what if the girls don't like the game? Just try something different. And I suppose you won't know unless you try. And I think that feeds in as well, I suppose, from my own experience as a player over the last few years. I've been playing football myself since I was 9 or 10. So, I'm playing a good few years now, and I suppose even playing at an elite level, not only when I was a child, but it's still that fun element, and that kind of that creative and that social play particularly still creeps in to this day. I'm 27 now, and I still, at training, it's the fun things that we do at training, even if it's for 5 minutes at training. We could be training for an All-Ireland final, and we could be training, it could be all serious at training, but it's that 10 minutes that we're allowed to express ourselves, and we're allowed to be instinctive. That's what I remember. And I think from my own playing experience as a footballer, I think the best games that I've had, and in terms of the best scorers on the pitch, the best tackles I've made, the best passes that I've made, all of that came from being instinctive and having that freedom to express myself on the pitch. And I suppose that's what we want to bring back into, we want to bring that into youth coaching, because if you don't practice the instinctiveness at training, and if training is too structured and too tactical and, just too authoritative, then you're going to kill the creativity of a player. And essentially, that instinctiveness isn't going to be, on a high flying disc when it comes to a game situation. So I think that, I suppose, really, if anything, I do believe, like, from my own perspective, that, like, obviously structure is good, and you need to have a purpose behind your structure, but at the same time, that whole idea of just having a bit of chaos and having just some free time, some social, creative, communicative is so important. That play is so important amongst teammates. That goes a long way. And, even if it's implemented in small segments throughout training, I'm not saying it has to, you have to just let them run wild for that 60 minutes. But if you can, give them that opportunity, they will thrive. And they'll have that opportunity to be their best selves, in the sense that they'll be instinctive and they'll internally be motivated to want to put the ball over the bar. And it's all about having that experience, really, at the end of the day. So yeah, all in all, I suppose, in summary, really, I think, there are numerous plays, and there's no right or wrong answer, and every coaching style, every group is going to be different, and it's just dependent on the needs of what group you have in front of you. And I suppose one of the main kind of key messages from my own research in terms of the coaching element of it would be that of just giving it a go, and just coming out of your comfort zone a small bit, and just trying something new, and trial and error, and see what works best for your kids.
Fantastic, Orlagh.